Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nurul Syariamita Badrul and my matric number is 280726. Today, my friend and I would like to share about our chosen problem and how do we solve it.
Okay, for our problem is we choose from internet. Okay, for the problem is Susan Tollett, campus dietitian for a small California college, is responsible for formulating a nutritious meal plan for students. So for the statement is about diet problem. Okay, for the next, for an evening meal, she feels that the following 5 meal content requirements should be met. 1. Between 900 and 1500 calories. 2. At least 4 milligrams of iron. 3. No more than 50 grams of fat. 4. At least 26 grams of proteins. And 5. No more than 50 grams of carbohydrates. So, for the statement will be constrained. So, this problem have set constraint because for the first constraint will be two constraint. First constraint is for 900 and constraint 2 is for 100 is for 1500. Okay, for the next, on a particular day, Susan food store includes 7 items that can be prepared and served for super to meet these requirements. So 7 items is 4 decision variables. So this is decision variables have 7. Okay, next, the cost for per pound for each food items and its contribution to each of the 5 nutritional requirements are given in the accompanying table. So, based on the table, we can formulate the LP model. Okay, for the next, let's formulate LP model. Okay, let's say decision variables have 7, which are x1 is number of milk, x2 is number of ground meat, x3 is no number of chicken, x4 is number of fish, x5 is number of beans, x6 is number of spinach, and x7 is number of potatoes. So for the objective function is to minimize cost because D is for the diet problems. So for subject 2 is for constraint. For the constraint, we will take based on table. So for every food items, for calories, iron, fat, protein and carbohydrate will be we take the number in table and we put at the subject to. Okay, that's all. So for the next part, my friend will explain how to solve it using Excel server.
Hi, my name is Nurul Adlina binti Muhammad Zaidi. I will explain how we solve the diet problem.
First of all, we put all the number in the Microsoft Excel based on LP formula. We put the objective function and subject to. The formula to calculate the totals are given. Next, using the Microsoft solver, we put all the constraint and the objective, and then the Microsoft will solve. After we we use the solver, then we will get the result as follows. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Ammar bin Muhammad Zuki. My metric number is 279146. Okay, so the first one is to formulate an LP model. The first thing to do is to make variables. So the first one is we let the number of milk become the x1 and the number of ground meat to become x2 and the number of chicken to become x3 and the number of fish to become x4, the number of beans to x5, the number of spinach is x6, the number of potato is x7. So then the objective function is to minimize the cost. And so we set the minimum z to 0.60x1 plus 2.35x2 plus 1.5x2 plus 2.25x4 plus 0.58x5 plus 1.1066 plus 133x7. And to sum it all, we have a few constraints in our question, so the subject is like the following. So the next question is, what is the cost of a meal? So after some calculation, we have decided that milk is not necessary for the meal that is required. So the cost of the milk is 0 while the ground meat is needed. So the cost of the ground meat that are required is 0.710, and the chicken is also required for the balanced meal. So the cost that are required is 0.173. Fish and beans are not required in this balanced meal because it has less iron and fat, which are not acceptable in this balanced diet. So the cost of the cost that is needed is 0. The spinach are needed in this diet. So the cost that are required is 0.105. The potatoes is also needed in this balanced meal, and the cost that is required is 0.762. So the total cost of this balanced meals is 1.75. For the third question is it a well-balanced diet? And to answer this question, it is yes, because the meal is fairly balanced. It has 2 meats and 1 vegetable and a potato, and the weight of each item is realistic, and the problem is very sensitive to change in food price. Next, we go to the third question, is it a well-balanced diet? And the meal is fairly balanced. It has 2 meats, 1 vegetables and a potato. The weight of each item is realistic, and the problem is very sensitive to change in food price. So to answer it is a well-balanced diet. And then we go to the last question, sensitive analysis when the price change. And when the first one is when milk increased by 10 cents per pound, there is no change in price or diet because we didn't include any milk in the diets that are required. Next, when milk decreased by 10 cents per pound, there is no change in price or diet because we didn't just as we stated before, there are no milk included in the diet. Next, when the ground meat price increased from 2.35 to 2.75, the total price for the meal is 1.93. So spinach will leave the optimal solution. And when fish decreases from 2.25 to 2.00, there is no change as we didn't put fish in our diet. And last but not least, when the chicken increased to 3.00, the total price for the meal is 1.91. So meat, fish, spinach and potatoes are included in the solutions, while the chicken will leave the solution. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.